right, well, tell me a little bit about yourselves and how you came upon the Joinery.
I'm Sarah. This is John. We are, we're the Joinery. No, it's not true. I'm actually John, and this is actually Sarah. Sarah and I are longtime Lakelanders. We've been here, I've been here over 30 years. You've been on here over 25, probably. Mm-hmm. Yeah. We've spent a number of years traveling in previous careers. I was a musician. Sarah worked for a software company doing consulting and training and implementation, and I played music touring the country and the world, and we've had a lot of fun experiences. And the last few years, we've decided to try to cultivate something in Lakeland that we felt was missing here, that we really liked about some of the areas that we've traveled to a number of times. And
Did you all grow up here in Lakeland?
No, I moved here in high school when I was a sophomore, and he moved here when he was 8.
Yeah, I moved here when I was 8 or 9, so I pretty much grew up here on the north side. Went to Paget, went to Lake Gibson Junior at the time, and then Lake Gibson High School.
Yeah, and I went to Lakeland Junior. But I think just our travels, and then we own a different company.
We still own it.
Oh, that's true. We still own it. But we were looking for a way to expand it and to have like almost like a live-work space, but also be able to do a showroom and maybe photography out of the pieces and kind of combine. And so that kind of morphed into, well, maybe it should be a space for more than just one maker, maybe like a maker mall, almost like a mall, but more artisan. And then that expanded to like, oh, maybe there should be food there so that people can shop and eat while they're looking at the making. And then, so we went through a couple iterations with the downtown, the CRA, which is the Community Redevelopment Agency, I think it's called. And it ended up the buildings that we looked at fell through, but this one came up and it was a little smaller, so it didn't really work for the manufacturing of what we make for our furniture company. But because it had the brewing equipment, it was like, well, okay, so maybe we just transition and it's like it's just a food hall with a brewery, and we make all the furniture, which is what we did. And so that's like
so it was kind of a baby that was born and then just changed a whole lot, right?
Yeah.
Right.
That's exactly.
Which, if anybody owns a small business, they understand that. You know.
Sure, I can definitely.
I mean, Pringles, they were gonna do tennis balls and racquetballs, but then the truck showed up and it had potatoes on it, so they just cut them up and put them in the jars. And
I went with it.
Pretty sure.
Don't listen to anything you say.
What would you say, kind of piggybacking off of that, what's your biggest piece of advice for new business owners or someone kind of getting into that space for the first time?
I think Sarah and I would have opposite pieces of advice for new business owners.
Yeah, part of me would say don't. It's really hard and exhausting and never-ending and difficult. But no, I think I would just say be ready for the unexpected and for things to change, and kind of keep your mind open to what possibilities there could be, because this took a lot of different shapes before it became what it is today, and probably it will still evolve. So.
Being open-minded and ready for that kind of change. And
I would say you have to have a little bit of fearlessness and just no concern for failure. I think if you're not afraid to fail, then you can move forward and face kind of anything. I think together we make a unique team, because Sarah's very cautious and very detail oriented, and I'm very fearless and very big picture and just go forward. It makes sense on a grand scale. Let's just do it. Just start. You have to start before you're ready. Because if you wait until you're completely ready, you'll never be completely ready.
For sure. You guys kind of touched a little bit before on some of the traveling you guys did before, but what did your careers or what did your professional lives look like before the Joinery?
Do you want to go?
Yeah, I mean, I was I've had a lot of different. Well, I've worn a lot of different hats. So I played drums most of my life. I played drums in school, and then I played in bands. I started bands in high school and then played with a few others, and then just kind of grew into a band called Copeland. I was in Copeland for a good 10 years or so. It was just kind of an indie rock band. And that's taken us all over the world. And I joined Copeland, I think, in 2004. And the last record I made was in 2014. And that was, in 2014, I think, is the first tour that I didn't do since 2004. So that was kind of hard. But by that point, I'd already had a furniture company that started taking off in 2012. We kind of went on a touring hiatus and I made some furniture pieces for our house that we were remodeling. Because the pieces that we liked we couldn't afford, so then we decided we wanted to renovate a bathroom and put a bathtub in it that we couldn't afford, so we decided to sell a table that I'd made, and that's kind of what grew into that company.
Are there any of your pieces inside the joinery?
All of them.
Everything.
Yeah, everything.
Everything is you.
All the tables,
How awesome.
not the chairs.
Yeah, we didn't make chairs and bar
Tables,
stools.
benches, bars.
Shipping containers we built out. So I have some employees, and they worked very hard on this project.
Sinks, like in all the bathrooms, you'll find these.
Yeah, the concrete sinks we did.
That we made. I'm sure. Oh, in the back patio, we have concrete tables.
The fencing,
Yeah, all the fence panels that have like the square.
the concrete
grids,
bars,
that's
the
all
drink
made.
station, cabinetry, the tap systems, the shelving
Yeah,
systems,
that's right, the tap
shipping
systems,
containers.
which I was really proud about. He came up with that idea. We had to buy steel beams to hold up the mezzanine that's kind of above Sabu, where there's some like air conditioning equipment and other electrical equipment. And so he had to buy, I think they were 8x8, 6x6 steel beams, something like that. And they only needed to be 11 feet, but you have to buy them in like 20-foot sticks or something like that. And so there was a lot of cutoff. So we were like, well, we should do something with that
Repurpose
because it's
it,
really
sure.
cool steel, and it could be something. Like maybe it could be, I don't know. So he came up with the idea of a cantilevered tap system. So it's just a steel beam that cantilevers out, and you have 20 taps, you know. And he made all the handles.
24.
24.
Miss Detail.
It sounds like you guys are both kind of artsy. Is that like one of the ways you guys think you complement each other as business owners?
I don't know. Actually, like neither of us would self-describe as artists. Like someone today or yesterday said to me, "Oh, you're such an artist," because I'm working on a tiled backsplash and wallpaper thing for one of the spaces, and I was like, I just don't think of myself as that. But I definitely love design. He is way more about like the fabrication. But we both will have like, we'll see something we like, or we'll have an idea.
Yeah.
And then it's like him understanding.
I feel like
mechanics,
I'm a replica
engineering.
artist. I see things I like, and then I want to add a little twist to it, and so I kind of do my own thing.
And then I see things I like, and I like them, but I could never do anything with them, you know. So he's like the implementation.
He's got ideas.
Yeah, and he can make it happen. Like I can see it. I don't know how you do it, but he can.
I would think, I mean, for us, we're not restaurateurs necessarily. We're not builders necessarily. I think we're design enthusiasts, and I think we've become foodies from our travels.
Yeah.
And so
Okay.
I think the joinery is kind of the culmination of just the design aesthetic that we really are passionate about, and that we wanted to be a part of cultivating here in town, as well as the curation of the vendors and the food selection and things like that, and the designing of the drink menu at the bar, and then the building out of the furniture. So I think it's just kind of a culmination.
of a lot of things.
Mhm.
Talk to me about how you went about choosing those vendors for the inside.
That was very challenging, actually. We kind of had in our heads some cuisines we definitely wanted to either bring here, or like maybe bring a different way that those cuisines are made, like pizza. So of course there's plenty of pizza in Lakeland, but there's not really the Neapolitan style.
Right.
And so
We got some drinks coming, by the way.
Oh yay! Oh yay! Thank you guys. That's for
Oh,
you.
old fashioned for me.
That's for me.
That's the new
And then we
cocktail.
got them the
Tie one
Awesome.
on,
Thank
tie
you.
one on.
Appreciate
And
it.
it has the Thai,
Ooh,
the Thai basil
yum.
butter.
This
Thank
is
you,
so
guys.
waters, right?
Yeah, maybe, yeah, a few waters.
Thank you.
Cheers!
Cheers. Ooh, that's
Clink.
a good idea. Cheers.
I might have foam on my lips, so
I
you
know.
have to tell me. So we had ideas of like the cuisine, and then it was about like trying to find, you know, the concepts that do that cuisine and do it really well. So like in Lakeland, there were a lot of people that they do the food really well, but like you don't want to just bring the same people here and then we
Right.
just have two of that.
Good point.
So it was like, well, okay, so we need to broaden our horizons and maybe look outside of the city, or look at people that are in the city but have never done it and they're new to it. And so we worked a lot like with the Catapult folks. I don't know if you guys are familiar with them,
Yeah.
2 doors down, but just with the idea of bringing a new business concept, somebody that's maybe doing it at the farmer's market right now or something, kind of like the way Born and Bred was.
Sure.
And so, for example, Sabu was one of those people where it's like he's worked in food. He's never done his own concept, but you know, but he was passionate about ramen, and so it was great.
Yeah, it's like, and that's great. Like local business, or you know, small business owners, local business owners supporting other
Yeah.
And then
I was going to say originally too, we went to a lot more local people to try and expand or do another concept here or grow into a concept here. And we found it more challenging than we thought when it came time to actually move forward with the setup and the deal and make a commitment. And so we started to go a little further out to some restaurateurs that we liked from, Tampa and Orlando areas and started reaching out to them.
we've been outside, so Mayday is from St. Augustine. We actually pursued, they have 3 companies under that, the owner. So he owns Hippo, Popsicle,
Yeah, super
and
cool.
then Mayday,
Mhm.
and then he has a
Oh, yeah.
waffle restaurant.
Publix.
Oh, that's true. Called Cousteau's. And so they do Belgian aged waffles, which is one of the ideas I wanted to bring here. And so we reached out to that company, not knowing they were related. And they said, oh, well, we actually have an ice cream concept too, and we're looking for more places for the ice cream concept. Would you be open to that? And at the time, we were kind of like, ooh, we only have 7 spots, so if one of them is dessert, that really limits.
Oh,
You
sure.
can only have 6 other cuisines in a small space. So we said, oh, could you do the waffles, and maybe we could do like a half concept, like half waffles, half ice cream. So anyways, it evolved into being mostly just ice cream, but with the concept that maybe later they would add on the Cousteau's. So of course that's St. Augustine, and then the others I think are.
But ultimately, they're one of the more successful vendors in here, and they have a line
Yeah, it's
basically from the time we
crazy.
open until we
So
close.
it was a good decision, even though I was worried, oh, we're not going to have enough food options. I think it was so great,
Yeah.
and it's such good ice cream. Every flavor, I think I've tried them all, and they're amazing.
Yeah,
they're
they're pretty much the greatest ice cream,
yeah,
and it's made here in Florida, which is great.
That's
yeah,
huge.
I love
for
it.
sure.
And at the bar, we're featuring Florida craft breweries, so we're trying to stay pretty much in the Florida vein with what we're doing and showcasing some of the great food and drink here in Central Florida and a little bit beyond that. So
Very good. And so, what are some of the, you've talked about some of, bigger pieces of advice you give to new business owners. What would you say are some of the really big pros of owning your own business?
the really big roasts.
Pros.
Oh, pros. I was like,
Or roast, if you have an
I was like,
answer for that.
yeah.
no. What are the big pros? Oh my goodness. I think the pros are that if you're, you never feel like you have a job. There's a lot of work to be done, but I don't feel like I have a job. I don't feel like I've had a job since I was in my early 20s, but I work a lot. So that's one of the biggest pros. I love seeing a big picture and then following it through to implementation and seeing the culmination. Yeah. So I love seeing.
Tell me if I have phone.
You don't have any foam.
Yeah, I'll tell you too. You're
Okay,
good.
thank I'm so nervous.
I love seeing the big picture and then just seeing it come to fruition. Everything I've been involved in entrepreneurial, every venture, like whether it be music or the furniture company or this one or other ideas I've tried in the past, they're all a little different. So I think that there's pros to different ones. One of the pros to owning the Joinery is that we have a place we can go to hang out that we love being at, and now we own a bar, so we can go get our own cocktails that we
Absolutely.
helped curate. So that's a big pro.
Keeping it close to home.
Yeah. What do you think? Not really any pros?
No, they are.
Not right now?
It's definitely terrifying. We're only 6 months in, and to being open, and he's much more fearless. I'm very timid and cautious, and if it weren't for him, this would still be on paper an idea.
Oh,
Never
yeah.
happen, never, because I just would be too fearful of.
Yeah, you're thinking about everything could go wrong.
Details
And,
and-
sure.
Yeah. But I think the freedom, being able to be creative and try things, is a really big pro. And realizing that's what everyone does. They kind of are everybody's figuring it out, and you can see why okay, most businesses take blah 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 because they found that it works. For example, we're putting a new concept in where King State was. And so we're trying to find the to-go containers that we're going to use, and I'm very passionate about trying to be environmentally conscious, and I want everything to be recyclable or compostable or whatever. And so I had settled on what I think, and it has to fit obviously, and it has to have the lid so it doesn't smash the food and blah blah blah. It has to work and also be attractive and be compostable. And so the other day we were at Publix, and I saw in the in the case to the left of the deli where they have like the prepared, I think it's like the aprons meals.
Yeah.
They come in these containers, and I'm like, I think those are the containers I picked. So I looked them back, and like, they are. I'm like, listen, if Publix picks them,
If a major
then they're
corporation-
really good, and that means I need to
Yeah,
get
then you're
mine.
doing something right.
Decision, right?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
great.
So I like that you have the freedom to pick anything on the market, but you can like learn and like see what are these people doing, what are they doing, and what would work better. And I'm gonna try it this way, and then okay, that didn't work so well. Let's try it this way.
Yeah.
There's some freedom there. And I think that's
Would you say there's kind of like a sense of community when when it comes to owning your own business? You talked a little bit before about supporting other local people
Yes.
or people here, kind of local to Florida. It seems like its own kind of
yes,
community.
it totally is. And
I would say it's been, and then that's even grown here in Lakeland in the
Yeah.
last 5-6 years significantly.
I think a lot to do with Catapult, just
Yeah.
the fostering of the culture of like, there's like a place where you can be vulnerable and it's safe.
I
Like
get
you
that.
cannot know how to do something and be afraid or be like, oh, I'm not sure what's the best way to do this, and have a team of people around you that
To back you up.
Yeah. So like we're with Cobb and Hen, Grove Roots, 1961 in Winter Haven. I'm sorry, 1961 here, and then Nutwood in Winter Haven. Those are some people that we collaborate like a lot with. Like, hey, what are you guys doing about like the COVID stuff? How are you managing or even Black and Group, the cleanliness or the
Sure.
employee monitoring or how? And so there's like you don't have to know it all. You can rely on people and be safe to ask.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
how do we do this? How do you do it?
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Co-opetition is what that's called.
Co-opetition. I like that word.
Yeah, I would say like 5 to 8 years ago. 5 to 8 years ago, I was just making furniture in my warehouse on Cumbie Road and putting crates on freight trucks, and they were going off to out of state. And I didn't know a lot of people in the local business community. We just were kind of doing that ourselves, and we had our small group of friends. And I think what Catapult has begun to cultivate here is evident in how connected we are now to so many businesses.
That's huge. Word of mouth, I know.
Yeah,
is a
and
huge
so
help.
now I mean,
Oh, yeah.
even other furniture makers and
Yeah.
cabinet guys and other restaurateurs and bars, like Sarah was mentioning, and a guy who's got a drone company is a good friend of mine too through Catapult. And we talk about a lot of similar problems that we have in running the business and similar stresses. And it's funny because it doesn't matter what shape your business is. A lot of it boils down to the same handful of issues that
Same
we're all
principles,
right.
sure, same struggles.
That we're all dealing with. And I just think that the sense of community that I see specifically here in Lakeland is unparalleled. Yeah.
That's great. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I already blanked my next question. Oh, so all right. Talk to me about some of the adapting you've had to do throughout this pandemic, because you guys opened right
Oof.
before COVID-19 hit. So talk to me a little about that and how you've managed to stay afloat.
Well, initially,
Challenging.
yeah, I was going to say, initially we planned to operate a business that would be profitable, and then we had to learn how to operate a business that loses money. So it's
Very
completely
different.
polar opposite.
Well, at first, it was like, okay, in March, we had to, so.
We were open for
Joinery-
49 days.
Yeah.
49 days
That's
is
right.
what we were open
The
for.
Joinery employs porter and like janitorial staff and bartenders and barbacks because we're-
And leadership, like our
And
director of
yeah.
operations, and then,
and us.
yeah, and us. And yeah.
So at first it was like we had to close the bar because that was the rule, and so the bar is closed. So then of course we had to lay off our bartenders and barbacks because we had nothing for them to do. And so we were trying to figure out, do we sell cocktails to go? And at the time we didn't have the license that lets you sell package, and so we couldn't. And then they released that restriction, and so then we could have, but by then we had already laid off people, and so then it was John and me, and we don't know how to make the cocktails.
Oh,
So,
no.
and we had
Yeah.
a lot of other work to do.
Here we own a bar, and I'm like,
and we're
this
like,
is
how do we
bourbon.
know
I know that
I
much.
had no idea.
Yeah.
And the first
The
time we
label
started-
says.
I know.
Yeah.
And the first time we started selling, we did start to sell growlers as an attempt.
And so we called our friends who own
So
like
how- yeah.
breweries, and we're like, hey, can you
How do
come?
you feel?
How do we
Okay.
deal with
What are your
these?
growlers?
Yeah, growlers
Where do
and
you buy them?
yeah. Hey,
How
I'm
do you clean them?
Having
I'm sorry we had to lay people off because we don't have enough work. Can you help me change out a keg? I don't know what.
We didn't even know. Yeah.
Yeah.
We didn't know how to do that. So it's really stressful. We were all the positions. We were able to keep one housekeeper, which is great, but then we were the housekeepers after that. But
Yeah.
basically, everybody kind of switched to being to-go only, and so they were all still able to operate as takeout, and they as quickly as possible. I think originally we had not intended to have like Grubhub and Uber Eats and all that because we don't really have a great place for the food to stay. And there's not a lot of parking as it is, so if we have those cars coming in and taking up the spaces, that's really challenging. And if they park in the right of way, that's really, so it's like we never intended to have that, but we had to have it, you know. And so that was really quickly like everybody trying to get their accounts set up with Uber Eats and Grubhub and DoorDash and BiteSpot and all of them. And then me trying to update the Instagram like constantly. Okay, now call this number. Okay, now you can get it online. Now you can use this link, and like just like really crazy.
We heard you guys weren't big into social media, and
Not
that your
at
dog
all.
actually runs your Facebook page.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
That is true.
Oh,
Speaking of
yeah.
That was pretty great. Yes, that's right. We had never had an Instagram.
I don't think either one of us have ever had
We
a
had
personal Facebook.
No. I did in 2008. So,
Like,
but like before,
Like
this
when
is not
Facebook
what the
first came
thing.
out,
Yes.
basically.
I think she was the second person to
So
sign up.
When we first
Yeah.
were creating all the accounts, the branding company we had used said, okay, well, we're ready to transition your account, but you have to have a personal account to transition a business account. And I was like, I don't know anything about that, and I don't want one. So we made one with our dog. So that was me trying to figure out and like how to leave on the answering machine, like, okay, we're open. These are, you know, just all of that kind of figuring out. And
So now Huckleberry, our Great Dane, he owns the Joinery business page on Facebook. And
one of the day hours is wrong, so I really need
no,
to get
I
on-
fixed that. I figured out how to
Oh,
fix
good.
that. That was very confusing, fixing your hours in Facebook. And then somebody messaged us one time, and Sarah tried to reply, but the reply came from a dog. So somebody was messaging the Joinery, and then a Great Dane named Huckleberry replied to their message.
It's very funny to me because
And I still don't understand how a business can do a messaging app
I don't-
in
it's
Facebook.
very confusing.
I'd just rather you text me. I get the whole iPhone thing, and
But,
I can
like,
use all of my Apple
what's funny
programs,
to
but
me
Facebook I
is
can't.
that I was a software consultant. That was my job, like training software. I mean, I had people where I'd be like, okay, double click, and they'd be like, click, click.
And
Oh, no, you know, like double click.
fast.
So for me to have this much trouble with Facebook is just hilarious and like incredibly ironic and funny. Like, okay,
The
I'm
world
not
is a really
that
funny
old, but
way,
like,
yeah.
wow, I can't even figure out Facebook. Okay, it's great.
So, but your guys' social media like content is really, I mean, like really nice looking. It's like in my mind, not like the branding's all there. Did you guys do a
Yeah.
lot of research to learn like how other people were keeping up with the social media presence?
No. I mean, we recently contracted with a lady to help with marketing because that is just not my thing at all. I just knew I don't want the social media to be boring, redundant, irrelevant to life. Like I really want it to be editorial and more beautiful and inspiring. It's very challenging to do it, as it turns out. So I've been the person who was doing it up until about like in the last 3 weeks. No, I mean I still do. I try to be involved in the post.
We might have to take a pause because it's raining.
Oh no!
We had to move because it was raining. What's weird is that we're in Florida, Central Florida, in the summer, and it started raining.
It was so strange. It's never happened before.
I don't know.
Never.
Unexpected.
You guys were telling me a little bit about your social media strategy and how you had never owned your own social media or personal social media before.
Well, we did have one for 1720, which is our furniture company.
And your dog.
And we have a Huckleberry.
Well, he didn't have a Facebook. He only had a Facebook because we had to create one.
Yes.
So the only social media we had was an Instagram for our furniture company, 1720. And we literally were so bad at it, we had to pay our sister-in-law to run it for us for like 2 years. And then she was like, I can't do this anymore. And I was like, okay.
It's hard. It feels, I don't know. There's like, on the personal side of Instagram, it's very like, look at my life. It's so glamorous. It's so happy.
Sure.
Don't you wish you were like me? And I don't want to participate in that. I don't want, like personally, I don't want to make people feel like, oh, you know, my life is so great and you should be aspiring to have my life, you know, because no, my life has
Because it's terrible.
No.
No.
But it has hardships just the same as you. You know, like we all have hardships and we have good things and bad things. So I never went personal. with a business, it was like, I don't want to be that thing where it's just like, come on down, come buy this, come buy that.
Yeah, you want to be
It's just like,
authentic and
yeah, I want it to be real and richer. And so it actually was much easier to do when we were first starting, because it was the story of like, okay,
It was
here we
new.
go, like we're building this, and like,
Right.
oh, and there's all these crazy stories. Now that it's running, it's different, because you do kind of run out of like, well, what do I say? Like, we still have tacos, we have them every day. I mean, I don't know what else to say. Here they are, you know.
Yeah.
And so I don't want to be boring, and so that part's a challenge. But I think like making it beautiful is my first. I know that sounds really
No,
cheesy,
you guys
but
have
like
done a good
I want
job.
it to be beautiful to look at, and then like have interesting things to say. And so we just tried. That's all I can say. Yeah.
I think you guys are doing a great job.
Thank you very much.
So when someone visits Joinery for the first time, so it's my first time here, what are some of the dishes and beverages that you guys recommend that a first
I
timer
would-
try?
I would say that there's the best things at each vendor.
Okay.
Okay, so if we start at Mayday Ice Cream, because they're,
No, you have to
You
finish.
can start with dessert.
You can't start with dessert.
I mean, I would always start with ice cream.
No, start in the back.
Okay, start with Super Duper Spot.
Yep.
So amazing, like smash burgers. So you got that real crispy kind of flat burger on the what is the roll? The Martin's potato roll.
Potato run.
That sounds really good.
Yeah, so good. Okay, that's great. It's great. They're a burger spot, but the sleeper is the chicken sandwich.
They have a chicken sandwich.
That's the one that you said may or may not be better than a popular chicken retailer
Yes,
that
that's
exists.
Yeah.
It's very well
You know,
That's
that
true.
may or may not be very popular in the Southeast.
It's really very good.
Okay, so here's a great story. When we hit COVID and we had to shut the bar down and we moved to a takeout only, one of our cocktails at the bar actually used an egg white. So we had eggs in the cooler at the bar. I think we had almost 300 eggs. And as we were going through, like, okay, what's going to go bad? One of the things we looked at was the eggs. Like, okay, we got to do something with the eggs. And I said, I'm going to Super Duper Spot to see if they'll fry an egg for me and maybe put it on a burger or something. And then when I walked over there, she said, or we could do it on a chicken sandwich. And I thought, okay, well, that's like the whole bird, right? You got the fried chicken,
That's true.
and then you got the egg.
Yeah.
So it's the whole bird. And they were testing a cheese that they weren't sure if they were going to keep. It was a ghost pepper cheese. And I
like
love...
a Monterey Jack, but like a pepper jack.
Yeah, but with
like
ghost
spicy.
pepper. Right, because it was
Spicy.
ghost pepper. So
Yeah.
I asked if they still had some of the ghost pepper cheese because they weren't going to carry it. And they said, yeah, we still have some left. So I said, okay. So I want a fried chicken sandwich with a fried egg and the ghost pepper cheese and the super duper sauce and the pickles. And I'll call it the whole bird ghosted.
So then
And
he
that'll
did-
be like my off-menu personal
I
favorite
like
selection.
It. I like it.
So he did it, and he
I
told
did
me
it.
He took a picture.
I took a picture of
He
it.
told me to post it, and I was like, "Ooh, are you sure? Because that is like now it's for sale, and like, are they ready?"
Yeah, so then I text the owners. I was like, hey, here's a picture of your new menu
Yes,
item.
right?
Yes, that's how he
Yeah.
is.
I said, here's the picture of your new menu item, the whole bird ghosted. I was like, it's the fried chicken sandwich with the fried egg and the ghost pepper cheese. And they're like, no, we don't have this in our system and we don't have any eggs.
You have
I
to
was like,
build it all out.
wait, you have 300 eggs? And he's like, but it's not in our computer yet. And I was like, well,
Don't worry about that.
yeah, it doesn't matter. You got them for free anyway. Just, I get one sandwich a week from here on out as my royalty, right?
I love that.
So yeah, now that's one of their more popular
One of your
items.
popular items. It's
Yeah.
different, that's
Yeah.
for sure. And I know people are often in the market for spicy.
Yes,
Oh,
yes.
it's so good. The fried egg, you know, because you take a bite of it and then the yolk kind of melts. Oh, so good.
Really good.
All right.
And then at
Otto.
I always like to get the spice. Well, so okay, we like spice.
Yeah,
So I
obviously
like
here
the
in a second. Yeah.
spicy- Is it spicy salmon? Or
Yeah,
spicy
salmon
tuna?
bowl.
The spicy salmon bowl.
That's interesting.
It is literally
So
very
that's
spicy.
like, it's like they make sushi burritos. So instead of a sushi roll, they put the seaweed on the outside and you eat it like a burrito. I know. And then they make bowls, which is like a poke bowl, is like a deconstructed sushi roll.
Yeah, true.
So yeah, Sarah's favorite roll is the spicy salmon.
It has serrano peppers and pineapple. Which
Oh, the
is
pineapple is
sweet
so
and
good with the
spicy.
spicy.
It's really good.
I like to take that bowl and then put tuna in it instead of salmon. So spicy salmon, sub to tuna. But usually if you go there and you're like, make me something off menu amazing and just charge me whatever, and then they'll just make you something great.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
Yeah, and then, so Otto is fantastic. The sushi, burritos, the bowls, out of this world. Then we talked about
Gallito.
Gallito.
So at Gallito, I love the barbacoa squash taco. Their queso is amazing. Like
Yeah, the queso is really good.
I Okay, so we are big Lakeland Mexican foodies.
We're
so,
not late,
like,
yeah.
We do our tapatios. We like our
Oh, yeah.
mercado. Big fans.
Oh, yeah.
And
Carne asada, mega mercado. Oh,
Yes.
so good.
And I always get the queso at tapatios, but I have to say, like, I think maybe this queso
Is better?
is better. quite good.
It's close. It's very good.
It's very good.
I would say that the two are like neck and neck for me.
Very good.
Yeah, I think
And
they're
the
doing it
corn,
right.
The street corn is really great. You like the pork.
Yeah, the street corn's amazing. Like,
I also just really like the tortillas. The tortillas are very special. People think they're maybe like dry or like too small, but they're this heirloom corn that's called, I think it's Masa Hacienda, and it's just this brand that really focuses on getting heirloom corn that's not GMO, which is a big deal with corn. Almost all corn is genetically modified, so this is not. And it's just really, I think it's just really earthy and really good. So I like the tortillas.
yeah, the tortillas are great. So,
So then sabu.
no, well, you love the squash barbacoa.
Yeah, we said that.
I think their carne asada, the steak taco is really good, but I mean their pork. To me, like the little pork chunks, the crispy pork.
Like carnitas. Yeah.
I'm getting super hungry
Yeah.
talking about it.
Well, they have a deal where you get 8 tacos, a huge bag of chips, and the queso dip,
And corn.
and a large thing of street corn.
So that's like well over a meal for 2.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
2 or 3, and it's
Yeah.
$34. So it's a really
Okay, that's
really
yeah,
good
that's a
deal.
really good
Yeah.
for queso and chips and all that other good stuff.
Then if we're going backwards, the next one is ramen, sabu ramen.
Yeah. I don't know. I like them all, but again, I
Yeah.
think I always go to spicy tonkatsu, right?
Yeah. So
I
the
love it. I
tonkatsu,
just love it.
yeah, the
It's
tonkatsu
so
ramen
good.
was our favorite, but they do the spicy miso, which is like
Oh, spicy miso.
that's what they call the spicy miso, but it's like the same kind of base and broth, but they add the
He's
chili
gonna be
peppers,
so annoyed.
paste.
We're probably totally not.
Oh, he
annoyed.
doesn't care.
But it's so good. It's yeah, I love it. And then we also love the bun.
But you can also get the we're telling you all the off menu stuff.
I
You can
love
get the
it. It's like
tonkatsu.
an inside scoop.
Yeah, you can get the tonkatsu with the spicy miso sauce. So they'll put the spicy sauce in the tonkatsu, so you get the fixings of the tonkatsu.
It's like a different broth base. So there's
Yeah.
the tonkatsu, and then there's the miso.
No, the spicy miso is the same as the tonk broth.
I'm not sure what I'm saying. It's
Right.
really good.
Listen, I told you we're not restaurateurs. We're
But
foodies.
you're foodies, and you know good food. And
And
Yeah.
the
sometimes
pork buns are good.
Pork buns are good. The chicken karage is amazing. Everyone who
Yes.
tries the chicken karage there is
Honestly,
I
amazing.
hope everyone at home is taking notes.
I know.
Yeah.
The cucumber miso salad is also amazing.
That's
And I
too
feel like-
healthy.
No.
Okay.
It's not. I don't feel like people pick it because they're like, I mean, it's cucumbers.
It's good.
amazing,
It's
and
good.
it's like really crispy. So
But I
if
want to
you're
talk
having-
more off
Hold on.
menu.
If
All
you're
right.
having the hot, if you have like a hot brothy soup, you know, or you have like a fatty something like the pork bun, but then you have this crisp, cold, really, really delicious fresh cucumber. It's great.
It's great.
The combination.
I'll give you that. It's great.
Okay, moving on.
Okay, but you can get the karage. So they have the pork buns, you know, with like the fluffy buns. I don't know what they are. The
I
whatever.
know, it's weird. It's like
Fluffy
white.
buns,
It
white,
looks
yeah.
To me like uncooked sunbeam, like
Huh.
dinner rolls. Have you ever seen?
I
in the
haven't.
freezer?
It's like this steamed bun. Anyway.
It's on their website. They have great pictures.
It's a standard, like, delicious snack item.
Yeah.
But I like to get what I call the karage tacos. So you get the side of the chicken karage, but they'll put it in the buns, so you can eat it like a taco. That's really good.
Delicious too.
Okay,
And then ava.
Ava. We
I
have
mean-
we have two favorite pizzas.
Yeah. What do we? Okay, la bestia.
La Bestia.
Which is again spicy.
Spicy sausage.
with arugula, really great ricotta and mozzarella. It's just really good.
Yeah, but they
And
put
I
the
love
arugula
dough.
on afterwards. They drizzle with olive
But
oil.
listen, the dough.
So
the
fresh.
Dough is like it's a sourdough, which I love because then you get like a
Sourdough's so good,
tanginess.
Yeah.
And then it goes in the oven, and it's like I think 750 degrees or something, and so it gets all the bubbles and the charring, which I just love. I love the wood.
Yeah, that's like
fire.
that coal-fired, wood-fired pizza, you know.
Yeah.
Do you guys have like all 3 meals of your day here at the Joinery?
No,
We
I
would.
mean,
I don't think we can afford to right now
Listen,
during
when we
COVID.
when we laid everybody off and we were here all day, we had
Yeah,
no choice. 'cause
we had no choice.
we had to manage
We would trade them growlers for
But,
food. Yeah.
Yes, that's what we would do. But no, we really
And
should
then,
not.
but I also like the Bianca. So that's
Yeah,
one of their
Bianca.
white pizzas, and it's so it doesn't have any red sauce on it, and it's got sweet peppers, pepperoni, and I don't
The
know,
mushroom
whatever.
pizza is also very good. I like that.
I don't like
I'm just gonna
mushrooms.
have to literally, I'm just gonna try all the
I know.
things. I'll just come here every week for as long as I have to until I've tried everything on the menu.
Well, yeah, then May Day, so we can't leave that out.
Which is like ridiculous. delicious. I mean, it's painful. It's so good. So they make their galettes, which are like waffle cones, but in a cookie form. And they make their waffle cones. And so like the whole place smells like this when you come in. And
if you come in the morning, it smells like waffles.
Crazy.
Yeah.
And then the ice cream is just so good. And they have a lot of dairy-free flavors for people that are vegan or can't have like
So
lactose
if you're lactose intolerant, you have to try the toasted coconut ice cream at
I think Dirty
Mayday.
Chai is the
Dirty Chai is great, but the toasted coconut is so creamy. I still can't believe it's not
It's made with coconut.
made with dairy. Yeah.
And then I like spicy, the daddle dark.
The daddle dark,
dark chocolate ice cream with daddle peppers, which apparently are native to St. Augustine.
That's very interesting.
So I have
if I like spicy in my
well,
ice cream.
like if
I have
you
3 or
had
4
Mexican-
favorites, so you can talk about yours and I'll go
Like a
on.
Mexican hot chocolate. Have you ever had that?
Yeah, I mean,
hot
not
chocolate.
I'm not a spicy person, but I've seen it.
Oh, it's great. And so, yeah, I would recommend. You can try. They let you try as many as you want, so you can just taste it. But it's awesome, and so you have like that heat, but then with the really cold ice cream, it's good and creamy.
Okay.
He likes all the rest.
Not all the rest. I
All
mean,
the rest.
okay, they're all great,
I
fine.
mean, I like them all.
Okay,
But
so
Daddle Dark is great.
So my first love at Mayday was Cloud9. So it's like toasted marshmallow and almond. It's an amazing
That sounds
ice cream.
delicious.
Yeah.
No, but it also has like marshmallow fluff. Is that what it's called?
Yeah, toasted
yeah.
marshmallow. Yeah.
So, but it's like house made, so it's like marshmallow fluff with like almond, like marzipan almost. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, that's really good. And then I got really into their Queen salted caramel. Their salted caramel is amazing. And then,
Parent Trap.
well, yeah, Parent Trap's good, but I was going to start with Cookie Crush. So anybody who likes cookies and cream ice cream, who has never tried Mayday's Cookie Crush,
It's quite remarkable.
it's remarkable is an understatement. So it's a your typical cookies and cream ice cream, but the ice cream base tastes like the filling of the Oreo.
That's ridiculous.
So it's unbelievable. And then Parent Trap is like cookies and cream in peanut butter ice cream. So that's really good.
Even, like it's just
Literally sinful.
It's
but
so
Yeah.
good. Yeah.
And then
you
the
can buy
last
them by
one-
the pint too. So like, yeah. You
Yeah.
Can take it home.
The last one would be the Aviator, which is Nutella ice cream and Biscoff cookies.
Yeah, that one's great.
Sounds
Yeah.
Nutella is awesome.
Their ice cream is just amazing.
It just really
Everyone
is.
who's tried it, who I've said you have to try it, they're like, oh, I know, I've had really good ice cream. No, you have to try this ice
So
cream.
for us,
They
like,
go crazy.
They're like, have you heard of Jenny's? Well, yes.
Yeah.
So they are that for Florida, which makes us really proud.
Yeah, they're the Jenny's ice cream of Florida.
Yeah, it makes
love
you
that.
feel like, okay, yay, we have,
We
like,
have
a
them.
really cool,
Yeah.
creative. I mean, Jenny's is supposed to be opening in Tampa soon, maybe. But like we have a local ice cream maker who is just as good.
And I just love that they're doing really well here. We weren't sure how an ice cream concept, like a standalone ice cream concept, was going to do here. We really loved.
Ice cream always sells.
I know, we love the ownership team, and we're thinking, but if people are coming here for meals, are they going to be busy enough, for ice cream? But the line is just nonstop all day, and they're doing great.
Talk about the new concept.
Yes, yeah, and we'll go
If
ahead.
you want to.
Is there anything else that we think besides the new concept that we need before we wrap it up?
What did I put?
It's really raining. It's
Yeah.
unbelievable.
It's really raining.
I mean, like I'm watching. We don't have gutters on the front.
I literally. We already said like what do you get here that you don't get anywhere else?
Yep.
Your biggest reward as an owner.
Yep.
The pandemic.
Yep.
The advice.
Yep.
Challenging part. Best part. What prompts you? What makes joinery unique?
Yep.
Yep. I mean you've talked about everything. So if you want to go into the new concept.
Yeah, perfect.
Because that was my whole thing about having this is like the summer's like showing what's new to come. Like how we were
Yeah.
saying with like the balance culture.
Yeah.
They're moving downtown next
Yeah.
month.
Yeah, that like
here
that like inside scoop.
So like
Right.
having the inside scoop and being able to showcase that. Obviously you guys can
Yeah,
showcase
yeah.
that because it's free. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh no, it's great.
Perfect.
It's great. Well, okay, so it's like sort of bittersweet because on the one hand, King State left, which was sad and really hard. So they're friends of ours, and with the pandemic, and they were one of the earlier ones to close. It was just really like just that timing, I guess that's the way to put it. But when we started working on this concept, I had been very passionate. Actually, several years ago, I had decided like, okay, I'm going to work up the courage because I'm really fearful. So I'm going to work up the courage I'm gonna ask John to build me a little booth. I'm gonna go to Catapult and I'm gonna learn how to do like what cornbread did, and I'm gonna sell at the farmers market, and I want to do salads, and I want to show like how healthy it can be, really enjoyable, and not like you're on a diet. Like it can be filling and beautiful and great. And so I'd taken a break. I did a lot of remote training, so I think I was on a lunch break, and I went down outside and I was on the phone with John, and I was about to ask him like, okay, I've saved up my allowance, can you build me a little booth, and I'm gonna do this, and just try. And I'm
Cracked open her piggy bank. She was ready to go.
We have allowances. Anyway, so
We're into like Dave Ramsey, debt free.
Yeah,
like,
I like it.
yeah.
Trying to be like budgeted. So, anyways, I was about to tell him, and then a building had come available, and so when we first were talking about like moving our furniture business into a place and having a showroom, blah blah, that kind of came up, and so I didn't, in the conversation, I didn't voice it. Like I didn't say, okay, that's nice, but I really want to open my salad shop. I just left it. So we started pursuing this idea, which became this. And so as we were starting to build this, I was like, oh,
Still had it in the back of your mind.
want to do it, and maybe I should be one of the vendors. And it just was going to be a lot to undertake, like with all the renovations and trying to find vendors and making all the furniture,
Yeah, and
with
it's like
all of it.
running 2 businesses.
It was three. It was
Three, because the
4.
furniture, yeah.
Yeah, it was just going to be
Furniture at a food hall and a bar and brewery. Yeah.
So I had kind of resigned in my head, like, okay, whatever first vendor leaves, I'll maybe look at taking over their space. Thinking it would be like 3 years out, and because that's what most of our leases are, like 2 to 3 years out. So that will give me time to get my bearings and understand how this works, and then make sure that that's what I want to do, and then try. And so then then the pandemic hit, and then King State left, and so then it was like, well, we had a lot of pitches, lots of different like food, everybody from food trucks to people that had pitched before to us even pursuing some people that we had liked early on that we were trying to fit into the vibe. And then it was like, I think maybe I should do it, because if we bring any of those people in, they're kind of close to what I want to do, to where it would never work for me to do it because it'd be too overlapping, and you want to have enough distinction in a food hall. And so it was like, well, okay, maybe I do it. Maybe I do it now. Woo! Oh my gosh, okay. So then we contracted with the chef and basically brought him in to help me develop like my vision into like real work. How do you actually execute? Like I'm a home cook, so I know how to cook for 6 to 8 people at a time, or 12 people. How do you cook for like volume and lunch and dinner? And so anyways, he was the chef at Steelbach in Tampa, and so his name is Nate Harden, and he basically just he knew exactly what I was talking about and what kind of taste I wanted and all of that. And so we worked for a couple months, kind of developing recipes, testing, tasting, tweaking, all of that. And then it came to an end, so we hired a full-time chef person that's going to run the restaurant. And I think
let's just pause and bullet point that for a second. The fearful one who's cautious, who's detail-oriented, who doesn't start things, who doesn't think she's an entrepreneur, opened a food hall with everything we had, including everything we mustered for retirement, the house that we spent 10 years renovating, everything we had in any bank account ever, and then some, took on equity partners, opened up, and then faced COVID and started hitting the craziest financial time in the world.
I think she wants you to admit on camera that you're an entrepreneur.
So then she decided to open another business.
I don't decide, it just was the right time, like it was the right time.
So you saw an opportunity, and even though it was scary and you didn't have all the details worked out,
it's still scary. Like we're not
sure.
Open. Let's keep that in mind, everybody.
Being an entrepreneur is not that
still an idea.
There's nothing to be afraid of. It's just that you overcome that.
Yeah, I guess.
That's it.
But I'm very excited. It's going to be called Plenty, and it is salads, but it's like bowls. I don't want to narrow it into salads because then I feel like people will be like, oh, I don't want to eat healthy. I want a hamburger, and it's not. It's nutritionally very dense, so you'll feel very full and very satisfied. It's kind of Mediterranean, so we'll have wheat berry salads and cucumber and tzatziki and hummus and labna and kind of that Mediterranean style, and we'll have kebabs. And so I'm very excited. We just got the photos back from our first kind of photo shoot, and and so I'm like, oh my gosh, it's real. We're buying all the products to sell, to set up the space, and it's just getting
I don't think salads is the best representation.
I think Mediterranean definitely sounds,
because they're bowls, but they're so hearty. I mean,
Mediterranean dishes.
Yeah. I mean, they fill me up. We went, we did a lot of tastings for these, and we'll sample like 2 or 3 of them, and we're all
they're,
kind of
like,
sharing
so-
them, and we're all like, oh, I'm so
so
full, I can't eat
full.
anymore.
Which is
Like,
good.
yeah, I mean, we split 3 meals amongst like 4 of us, and we're all full. So they're going to be very hearty, healthy,
My sister's a
filling,
dietitian,
flavorful.
So she's helping me to make sure, like, I want each meal to kind of hit certain points.
Yeah, it
of,
has
like,
everything.
nutrition.
Sure.
Yeah. So that people are like, oh wow, and it's not a diet meal. It's not like, oh, I'm being healthy today. It's like I'm super full and super happy, and it's really healthy for me and makes my brain function better and my body function better and all of that.
That's huge.
So yeah, so I'm very excited.
That's
We're
awesome.
hoping to open in September.
Okay.
We don't have a date yet, but we're
Around the
thinking,
corner.
yeah, like in the next month we'll be doing some things here at the bar and then some events like around town and kind of to just put it out there and see like what people think.
Yeah,
and
put
then
it out into the universe and see what happens.
nobody give me your opinions because it'll probably make me so sad.
I'm
I don't
sure
know.
that it'll be amazing.
It'll make me
Well,
so
she's not
sad.
going to do the Instagram for it, so she
No,
won't.
I think
So she'll be
Yeah,
just
she'll be
happy.
away from
Because
the
that is
arrows
really
at the front
hard,
line. Yeah.
That's one of the hardest things. Anyway,
Well,
so
Yeah,
that's
people's
exciting.
opinions is the hardest thing. Yeah.
That
Oh,
is
for
probably
sure.
the
I can
hardest
imagine.
thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
okay.
thank you guys so much for your time. It was
Yeah.
a pleasure getting to know you guys and a little bit more about the joinery.
Thank
I'm
you so much.
excited to try as many things as I possibly can in one
Yeah.
sitting, and I'll be back to try the other.
Yeah, you've got a hefty list.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I sure do. I sure do.
Thank you so
All
much.
right,
Yeah,
thank you guys.
thanks.